Did you know that using a SeaWorld Orlando Crowd Calendar can help you avoid the popular months at this aquatic theme park? If you know this, or if you did not know this, then you should know that having this one little tool on hand can help you avoid the lines and have a great time at SeaWorld. And believe it or not, SeaWorld Orlando is one of the most popular theme parks in the entire country, recently being voted the #1 amusement park in America by USA Today. The park features many exhibits, tours, roller coasters, and rides, as well as some of the most fun you'll ever have at a park themed around a watery adventure. Now let's first talk about the importance of choosing the best days to go to SeaWorld. As mentioned earlier, SeaWorld offers a variety of activities for you to choose from the shows, the rides, the roller coasters. So when deciding on the best day to visit this park, there are many things to consider, like the holidays, the school breaks, and the special events. Before you think of anything, you'll first need to think about the weather. Yes. Is it going to be extremely hot? Is it going to rain on your trip? You know that the Florida weather is warm for the majority of the year, but from June through September, the heat of the Sunshine State can become unbearable at times. So, what is a SeaWorld Orlando Crowd Calendar? The SeaWorld Orlando Crowd Calendar gives you information on what the park is like for each day of the year. The calendar is also essential for you or anyone who wants to know the best time to visit this park, since it gives you an estimation on what days will be the most crowded based on the data from previous years. Popular roller coasters like Icebreaker, the Kraken, and Mako can have wait times reaching over an hour long during the peak summer school break time. So it's always important to know how to use the crowd calendar tool when picking your dates. Now let's get into how does the SeaWorld Orlando Crowd Calendar work. This calendar works by allowing you to see the exact days you should choose and what each day of the year will be like in regards to the number of people in attendance. Some calendars have the temperature that will be that day, and some also offer the park hours for that day. So depending on the one you get, you can get a lot of data from those calendars. So for instance, if you see a red color, it may indicate that it is a crowded day at the park. If you see a yellow color, it's like, oh, it's gonna be in between, it's moderate. And if you see a green, you know what green means. Go. So that means that the crowds are expected to be low. So you can definitely choose this time to go to the parks. Just know that many of the different crowd calendars have different types of colors, but it's basically the same across the board as far as when to decide if this is a good day for you to go. Once you have this information, you can then figure out which month, week, and day will work best for you when choosing your day to visit SeaWorld. Now, another question that I am sometimes asked is the SeaWorld Orlando Crowd Calendar 100% accurate? And like most online tools, the SeaWorld Crowd Calendar is not always 100% accurate, so you should think about this before you choose your date. However, it's a great place to start when deciding the best day to visit the park. Now, where can you find the best crowd calendar out there for SeaWorld? At the time of this recording, you can find some of the most accurate crowd calendars over on the ThemeParkHipster website.com. You can also go to Q Times or Undercover Tours. Now, the big question that you may have is, what is a good time and day to visit SeaWorld? And I have found in my research that the best days are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Now, if you want to know what the best month of the year to visit SeaWorld Orlando, then I'll say that September happens to be the best month to visit SeaWorld Orlando, followed by January, February, and October. So just keep that in mind when deciding on when to come to SeaWorld. Now we're to my favorite part, the best tips for choosing your dates to go to SeaWorld Orlando. Tip number 1 is to obviously check the crowd calendar. You want to review the crowd calendar and to make sure that your day is not a day that's going to be crowded. For instance, it's not a red colored day. Tip number 2 is that you want to check the weather. That's very important. You want to make sure that it's not on a holiday or a school break time period. As I mentioned earlier, the weather in Florida can be quite hot, but not only the heat, there can be days where it is raining, so you're going to also want to check for that. Spring break and summer break also brings in a lot of crowds, and special events like a Christmas celebration or a Halloween event at SeaWorld can also increase the crowd level at the park. Tip number 3 is to go to SeaWorld in the morning. If you want to get the most out of your trip, then you'll want to go in the morning. This will allow you to jump on all the rides and attractions that you want to see before the park gets too crowded. And here's a little hipster power tip. The SeaWorld Orlando peak hours are between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m., so try to go on off-peak times, and you can also go back to your hotel room to rest and relax and come back in the evening. Tip number 4 is to look at the SeaWorld Orlando Quick Queue calendar. This is one of my favorite tips when trying to figure out if I should go to SeaWorld that day. See, when the park thinks that it's going to be a large crowd, the price for the Quick Queue Pass increases significantly than when the lower crowd is expected. So that's a little hack of mine that you can use when predicting if that's a great day for you to visit the park. Tip number 5, like I always mention, is to have a plan. Having a plan will make sure that you are able to do some of your must-do attractions, eat some of your must-eat food, and to also enjoy some of those shows and exhibits at SeaWorld. You can check out my video where I talk about those best tips to go to SeaWorld Orlando, and I give you a full itinerary to do at SeaWorld. Now, as you can see, there are many factors that should be considered when planning a trip to SeaWorld Orlando. And by using the crowd calendar, you can make sure that your trip to one of the best amusement parks in America goes perfectly for your vacation. And until next time, happy park hopping hipsters.